I'm British and a lord. Girl, I want you to be one.
What's up? The Cheeto Challenge, dude. We need 100 likes. I want 100 million likes, and we're gonna do the Cheeto Challenge. He said he'll do it. He'll say he'll do it. He said it's no problem. He said no problem, but you gotta like and subscribe. I gotta have 50,000 likes. If I have 50,000 likes, you ain't getting the Cheeto. You won't even know what the Cheeto Challenge is. You don't even know what the Cheeto Challenge is until I give you 50,000 likes, and then you get to find out. And then motherfuckers, then you gonna see it. Then you gonna see this shit, motherfucker. You gonna see it. Oh man, what kind of ADD invented that kind of podcasting, man? It's got to be chill, it's got to be calm, and it can't be like someone attacking you with vocabulary, bro. It can't be. It needs to be a calmer what there needs to be. Don't you agree? That's how you're here. Oh, hey guys, welcome back to WessinTheWorld. I'm Wes, I'm currently in your world, and this is gaaaan. It's okay, guys, he's clean. I did a Joe Rogan on him, I had him tested. It's absolutely fine. He's clean as a whistle, straight as an arrow. Let's get this off. So yeah, I made this video for a few reasons, and basically I just had so many. You guys must have this all the time, but you don't quite have the you aren't quite the narcissists, and you don't feel as though the entire world needs to know your opinion as much as I do. So obviously, if you're like me, you're having plenty of breakthroughs every day, even if it's just putting two things together to just come up with an idea of just, oh, that's how that must work. And then obviously you read up on it and you find out that is how it works, and then you realize that you're as smart as an inventor that lived 100 years ago, which is it's a good and bad thing, really. You're as smart as an inventor that lived 100 years ago. Is that a compliment? You know what I mean? Schooling wasn't the best. Only the rich got schooled. And as we learned, blood doesn't determine intelligence. Why do I laugh at my own jokes so much? Oh, God, I gas myself way too much. But yeah, anyways, this is a special episode. Cause obviously, not only because obviously Connor's here, and obviously he could just dip in and he can just interact in whatever way he feels comfortable, because that's what we are here at WessinTheWorld. We are very, very comfortable. At the very least, we may be confused, we may be sad, and we may be happy, but you're always comfortable, because when you're comfortable you can express deep, heartfelt emotions easier than when you think you have to live up to a set expectation. So, okay, the reason my gas tipped over the edge and I had to make a video, and I hope this is recording. Yes, it's giving me indications that recording is happening. Let me just stop that. Yes, so we had to cut just then because I had to check that the audio was on, because we're very underprepared here at WessinTheWorld, and we gotta be honest with you, it's a very, very underfunded project. Can you support me? Can you bring me some money? Can you support what I'm doing, please? I'm joking. I am 100% joking. If you want to support me, if you want to like and you want to subscribe, please, if you like my content, please help that it continues, because I love doing this, and if you love watching, then it works out for all of us. I mean, I'm supporting me as well. It's not just you. But yeah, basically, so the reason that I boiled over the surface and I had to make this video was because I came to a conclusion that the reason why the nature makes us create an ego to become a character in this world, it's like scaffolding. And you build scaffolding around the building site to build the building, and the ego informs obviously the awareness that is new to the world and has no idea what's this current time considers love, considers morality, considers ethnicity, considers ethics, considers all of these things. It has no idea, so it's being informed by the ego. But we use the ego to sort of get to that gold status, guys. We want those gold things, we want those awards, I want those ceremonies, I want them for me. Do you understand that okay, so the Olympics only tests how good you are at shot put on that day, that day, that one moment when he shot putted that is a specific time in which he was the best at shot put, and the only thing that keeps him on that top spot is the fact that there wasn't another competition afterwards. Or okay, I'm probably going off on here, but yeah, so if you want to reach for being the best at something, just know that when you become the best, it doesn't mean you're a good person. It doesn't mean that you are a servant of mankind that deserves to be worshipped. I don't know, not worshipped, but deserves to be an idol for younger generations. Um, but yeah, so obviously we're working on ourselves. We're trying to make ourselves the best versions of ourselves that we could possibly be. So we build scaffolding outside the building, and then at some point you're supposed to knock down the scaffolding. And it becomes really weird and obvious to someone that has got very prominent scaffolding but not a very built up building. They're kind of different kind of people. They function in the world, but they don't really have original thought, and they don't really contribute towards creative conversation. In a way, they can, but it's not where they orient their brain. And as I mentioned before, there is no difference between you or me. It just depends where you orient your consciousness in your brain. So if my brain is in the left hemisphere, I'm going to be more logical, because that's what's called upon me to be like that. It's like work and play, work and play. You basically shift between that, but it's obviously best to just stay in the middle. But where you orient your brain, where you orient your attention within your brain, depends on what kind of person or depends on what kind of shit you see, stuff you take notice of. Because there's that Einstein thought experiment where he said that two people drive through the same town, and because each individual person has a different memory of that town, theoretically, they've technically drove through two different towns. Do you know what I mean? From different perspectives. Yeah, yeah. So obviously, oh yeah. So anyway, I got to get a bit of backstory to Connor. So Connor has to exit out of his apartment. So obviously some neighbour stuff. And people, we're forgetting about the people that have annoying neighbours that call you and complain about things that aren't happening, like bangs and bumps in the night that scare them. But obviously, it's easier to blame the outside, the external, rather than to think maybe I'm just a bit crazy or a bit paranoid. Paranoid could turn any bump or crack into a flesh-eating demon, and we often do make these things because the human imagination, guys. Okay, so I don't know if I mentioned this in another video, and I am going off the side. I'm going way off track here. If I was to stay inside my house, so this is the idea that ignorance is bliss. So ignorance is bliss. Not really. Because if I stay inside my house, because I'm like, I'm going to stay ignorant, I'm going to stay inside, and that's going to be it. I got all my food, I got all my entertainment, I'm staying here. I can only imagine what's happening outside if I'm not paying attention, because obviously you're ignorant in this situation. So obviously you don't watch the news. You're not paying attention to what's happening in the world. So the world is as dark as your imagination can make it, which it can make it dark. If anyone's ever tripped, if anyone's ever had a bad trip, if anyone's ever done DMT and had a bad trip, you know that your imagination can make things seem the worst things possible. Even if you've had an argument with your partner, the argument seems like it's life or death, and it's fucking not. It's really never the case, but your emotions can be taken that far, and your imagination can imagine things that are worse so much that it can actually put you into a frightened state, like a terrified life impending doom kind of job. But anyway, so if I imagine that the world outside is kind of, got murderers and all that sort of stuff in, and I'm not taking any information in, ignorance is no longer bliss, because ignorance plus an imagination plus maybe a dip in your serotonin or a dip in your any of the happy hormones, you have a slight dip in that, paranoia sets in, the world outside seems like the worst place in the world, and you end up, I don't know, I'm not going to you end up killing yourself. But what I'm saying is that ignorance is not bliss, because stupidity is a prison. And what did I make this video about that was bubbling over the top? I just had to obviously make a video about it. Was people, we make the ego so that we can build a sufficient self within the world. Once you've built the building, drop the scaffolding. That's pretty much it, actually, to be honest. And obviously now we got her mom's in. She's coming in from the left side, and she's brought another video in to watch, and we're all we're gonna watch this. Mom, do you want to say hello? It's in the middle of the video. She's on a good level. She's on a but we're having yeah. So we're all having a good time anyway. And I've got to put this on pause, so I'll come back in a second because, you know, we need to keep filming. And I'm just going to finish this video anyway because, bless my man, look. Just bursting from the left anytime. But to finish it off anyway, so I'm just saying the only reason why I mention this and say that the ego isn't so important that you should take your entire life over it. And what I'm saying is that your ego is not that important. What is important is what you can do for others. That's really the only importance that you ever need, what you ever need to grasp, is because you're only weighted by what you can do, you know. So, but not what you can do, just what you're prepared to do. Just smile, just be nice to the person next to you. And it's like your brain is just when people put thoughts on a pedestal, like they make a thought and then they live up to that thought. I don't know. Like if you have a thought, a negative thought, and it affects you emotionally, you're giving that thought power. Don't give thought power. Thought's just a random you can think of a giraffe right now with a blue head, roller skates, on a road, no, flying through the sky. You can imagine all of that. It's not happening. So we only give emotion to the thoughts that we are connected to us, but you don't need to do that. That actually weakens you and stops you from being able to look at that and observe it, and maybe for the first time realize that that's not your fault. And that is where you need to get to. But we're not going to get there if we keep running away from these thoughts. And it's not to dive into them, because obviously all I'm asking to do with meditation is just to repeat 2 words in quiet darkness, or with whatever that helps calm you, and then just repeat those 2 words in silence. We were doing the Wim Hof earlier today, the Wim Hof breathing exercise, 30 deep breaths, then you breathe out. But this is just because when we feel like we've lost control of our mind, we at least know we have these things to help pull us back. And by losing your mind, I don't mean, you know, taking the hose for a walk. I don't mean that kind of crazy. I mean the kind of crazy where you imagine someone hates you, you think that, you believe that, and then you treat them on that basis next time you meet them. That was just a thought. It's turned into a thing now because we gave that thought power. So yeah, so the brain is just a calculator. I've put down here, it's like a calculator, stopping and starting, doing maths with the subconscious. So the subconscious is like your hard drive, and it knows everything that can and will and is going to happen, because it works through intuition. It's an evolutionary response to panic and struggle and strife. It knows exactly where the exits are. But we feel like we need to go through our conscious mind and calculate all of the things. So it's like a calculator arguing with a hard drive. And it's like the calculator just wants to do all the mathematics, but not all the variables can be catered for. Not all of the variables of that situation can be prepared for. So we rely on our intuition. And some people rely on their intuition a little bit more than others. Some people don't, and they become anxious because they don't trust their feeling. So they fear what's going to happen next, and that just gets even worse, obviously, as the thought, as that thought extrapolates through the brain. Yes, thought of the word extrapolate. Damn, yes. I don't even know if it's the right word, but yeah, it sounds like the right word. But yeah, so let's not stop piling stuff into our calculators, because they're just calculators, and you can turn it off. But the ego thinks that once it turns the calculator off, it'll die. So that's why it fears meditation, because it'll have no power over you anymore. And this is basically what I feel is the great struggle that us as human beings have, is that we give more power to thought than we do to feeling. And it's led to obviously us being able to cut off our connection with the people next to us. We don't have to help them because they're probably not us. They are essentially us. And spiritually they are us. And I mean, physically, the basis of where science is right now is that the unified field is us. And they found it, and it can be studied, it can be examined, but it's just not called us yet. But it's at the base of all matter, and it's at the basis of all atoms. It's a singular force. And out of that force comes all life. You're that. So, anyway, yeah. We'll probably have to just shoot some shit, just have a chat a little bit later. And I'll put that podcast in there. But yeah, thank you very much for joining me. I'm Wes. This has been WessinTheWorld. Stay blessed. Don't stress. You never know what's next. And it's exciting. It's exciting. It's not scary. Well, it is sometimes, but you got to put that out in your mind because it's actually exciting. You're just a little bit weakened and things seem scary, but that just means they get more exciting. Anyway.